Hello, everyone, and thank you for choosing to be here. I know you have your options of other sessions, well, an option, I believe, so I appreciate your attention. I'm Nesin Veli from Identrics. We are an artificial intelligence company, which in the last couple of months became known as AI first company, which basically means that we haven't hired in a while. Um, Sorry, getting ahead of myself. So we are here with our colleagues from AData Pro. We are part of one community called Updata One. You heard from some of them on the CEO panel yesterday. Very positive bunch, as you know. Later today at 2 o'clock, I believe. Lastly, you can catch Zori, who is the head of the media intelligence desk over at AData Pro. She'll be talking about the importance of design when telling data-centric story. So our AI services have been largely used and utilized in media intelligence and in risk intelligence for the last over 5 years. And of course, in the last couple of those years, with the rise of disinformation, velocity and volume of the information sphere, we somewhat naturally started pivoting towards developing solutions that equip media intelligence companies like ADP, like other companies, to rise to the challenge of these adverse times. So in the next minute, I want to be discussing our experience more with the governments and less with private companies, because we do believe that the vantage points that the governments have is the key to a more encompassing, a more possible solution to the issue we are facing. So we have a saying that goes something like, "It is good that we can joke around so we can tell each other the truth." And I like saying that the hardest battle about this information is deciding on whatever are we going to call it today. So whether it's disinformation, whether it's misinformation, information disorder, etc., I think it's also part of the natural element. You have those actors that have access to those tools. So we have disinformation as a service or disinformation as a product, if you will. So of course we have that rise on the private sector as well. The private sector usually comes with communication teams, with marketing teams, and this is a differentiation game. So we see this saturation of this sphere with different kinds of terminology. Granted, they do have their nuances and they do have their places, but I think it makes it a bit harder for us in the know to communicate this to more outside audiences. So for the sake of clarity, moving on with this presentation, and in general, honestly, as part of the Identrics communication, when I say disinformation, I'll be meaning of the adverse effects in the information sphere. I want to make it simple, and we have recognized and consolidated around information integrity as the balance that we are aiming for. Now, perspective is important, and nothing gives perspective as looking back in time. So recently, our information integrity analyst had the opportunity to go to a lecture, to a talk that basically detailed some of the findings of a paper that deals with the analysis of US congressional speeches from the end of the 19th century until recently, 2022, I believe. So what they analyzed for is fact-based speech, truth-based speech, how it progresses, and how we see the fall of it into more belief-based, more emotional-based speech. Now, the one thing that immediately jumped out to me in this graphic is that we can see the rise around the mid-70s, and then the immediate and very steep drop. Now, what happened in the 70s? At 72, we had the breakout of the Watergate scandal, right? In 72, then we had that investigation that concluded in 74 and 75, something like that. I think this is correlated to that. I think this is caused by that, because I've read other studies that before and after the Watergate scandal, we had in the States confidence of around 60% in the government, and after that, this dropped to the low 30%. But more to the point, another thing that I think it's caused by this is the rise of the interest in conspiracy theories, really the birth of the conspiratory minds. What do we have then? You have your MK Ultra, you have your moon landing, you have your chemtrails, then we had our COVID and vaccines, and we had the 5G networks. Did you have that? Yeah, it was crazy on our end. So I think this is really the precursor of what we are seeing today. Yes, it is made faster, it is made swifter by technology, but having that on the back of your mind, or maybe not so back on the back of your mind, is important, so you can get perspective that this is not something new. It's not only about the now. It's not only about search engine being replaced by answering machines. It's not only about algorithm pushing news. This is a part of a process that I dare call natural, albeit very swift in our time. So utilizing this vantage point, we have recognized again information integrity as the thing that we are striving for. We do work with private companies, but the case there is that you're usually solving for a very specific use case, for a very specific brand, for a very specific market. It gets the job done, but for a very specific client. So we have turned part of our gaze to working with governments and civil society organizations, and we have come around the idea again of information integrity. So important to recognize that this information is a part of the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. It's something natural. Information integrity is what we strive for. This is how the system should look on its better days. And the ways to achieve this we have recognized as transparency. It was mentioned already, the importance of who is creating the narratives and who is standing behind the people that are creating the narrative. So that's what I mean by transparency, and usually very long game literacy. Recently we were speaking with Massimo from ECO. We were working on handbook, guidebook for mitigating disinformation. And one of my comments was that literacy, media literacy won't make any huge dents into disinformation anytime soon. This was a couple of months back. I'm happy to say that in the meantime, I had a reason to walk back on that a bit. And in a bit, I will show you why I changed my opinion ever so slightly. So again, it is important to recognize that we are going through natural processes. It's important to keep a cool head about it. Oftentimes when you speak with parties that are in some way affected by disinformation, you can hear that emotional voice that we should be fighting their disinformation with our information. We should be fighting fire with fire, which is a natural response, but an emotional response, which basically means that disinformation is working. So the role of the government here, and according to us and according to other organizations as well, is certainly not to govern content. It's not to moderate content. The role of the government is to have the capability, to have the tools and instruments to be able to facilitate a healthy environment, to put in guardrails, to make it easy for all of its citizens to have the option to access quality and relevant data, and give the same option and ease of access to those parts of society that so far didn't have the choice or didn't know that they had the choice. Now, one good thing that came from all that huge access, democratized access to AI, is the pressure that governments are feeling, and they are feeling that they are getting left behind by technology and by AI. So this gives us an opportunity to start more partnerships with government organizations. This gives them the pressure to seek those opportunities, those partnerships. So this is exactly where this experience is coming from, and we are working with people that are honestly interested in making changes, in working towards some kind of sustainable change, and we are creating a system of checks and balances. Where possible, I try and treat our government clients as private clients. Like, we try to get them the data fast, we try to push them to make decisions faster, etc. And these are people that do have some experience in the private sector, so most of the time we get along splendidly. Now, to give some specific examples, our technological approach to bringing that experience that we have from media intelligence, risk intelligence, and private companies to the government sector. So our answer to the changing technology times have been a three-pronged approach. On the first level, we have bundled all of our classical AI solutions like sentiment analysis, entity extraction, topic, etc. All of those things that we have developed internally and work on the document level. We have coupled them with our solutions that work on the dataset level, like topic modeling that predict what are the topics that are naturally occurring, and network analysis. And of course, we have finished it off with some open source large language models that we have fine-tuned locally, internally on our end to up the quality of our other services. Now, what you're seeing here is network analysis. This is the recent analysis that we did for the Telegram sphere of Moldova. They recently had elections. It was a really close call. They have a couple of regions that are being disputed by the Russians. They're really heavy on narratives that have to do with their energetic sovereignty. So this is something that we are seeing. On your left, you can see what we call author person network or source person network. You can basically see the different notes that the authors are writing about specific entities. This is used to understand, again, as it was said in the previous presentations, it is important who is writing and whom are they writing about. So this is a big picture overview. And on the right, you have semantic analysis network. This is basically an influence network. In a time series, you have the authors that are starting the narrative, and then you have the other authors that are obviously in a semantic way being influenced by them. So this is used to map the influence networks. Now, the first steps here is data, is content, and it is rightfully talked about so much on this year's AMEC, on last year's AMEC. It will be talked about. Of course, data is driving things, but big decisions require big picture, and this is what the big picture is looking like. This is what decision making is looking like. Now, who is writing? Again, I've put in a separate slide for this because, as you see, we all come around the importance of this. I think we have found a good foothold of baselines of journalism, those 5 W's, and the who of those W's. I think in last year we also talked about the importance of journalism, of journalists, of having the tools of getting to them and making the difference of who is a journalist, who is a content creator, who is a author, etc. So we have doubled down on our efforts in this area, and later this year we'll be launching an API-based product called PingGrid, which is basically a global database of content creators. Now that I say it, we are interested in tracking all of their movement, so I can, in a way, think of it as an IMDb for content creators. We are not going to be making the difference between who is a journalist, who is an author, who is a content creator. Our partners will. What we are aiming to do is gather not only the major influencers, not only the micro influencers, but really have a way to track everybody that creates some kind of content that is significant in one context or another. I don't have a screenshot for it to share just yet. We are planning to roll it out in Q3 of this year, and it's going to be largely API based anyway. The idea here is to be plug and play into any media intelligence platform to interface with PR professionals or communication professionals, either to cross-reference the data you already have or to get the data from the API if you don't already have it. As with our other services are also mostly API based, we have built some interfaces around them for academic purposes, for some government organizations, but those are largely services that are plug and play into other platforms. Now, on the literacy aspect of it, we are part and tech partner in countering disinformation environment, or code for short. This is an initiative that promotes collaboration between private tech companies, between academia like the University of Sofia, between government organizations like the Academy of Sciences and the Gates Institute, for example, which promote different NATO programs. This has been going on for the better part of a year now. I like to call us a broad coalition because I like the callback from what I know that most major crises in societies have been overcome by broad coalitions, by people coming together with different ideas, with different ideologies, with different skill sets. And this is exactly what we are trying to do and succeeding to do here and promoting these ideas. On the literacy aspect of it, the pictures here you are seeing is from this information hackathon that we did a couple of weeks back. Basically, we had around 70 students from 9 universities from across Europe come together into 12 teams and work on disinformation narratives via our tools, disinformation narratives around NATO, around immigration, around the war of Russia against the Ukraine, and around the Eurozone. At the end, the results were very impressive, honestly. We had reports that have real insight in them, real impact. They're being published in different publications, getting ready to be published in different publications, and will be made available soon on our website as well. We were so impressed, in fact, that we decided to open an internship program. We have 15 of those kids coming in. Help us build some new models, see how it's done behind the curtains. So so this is the thing that I mentioned earlier that changed a bit my mind, made me walk it back a bit. This is a literacy change that is happening as we speak, and I see that it can trickle down as well. So yeah, I am more invested in literacy now than I was before. And I think there's a lot to be said about agency in the context of democracy, but I promise not to get too political, so I'll keep it to AI agents. As I said, we are trying and treat government organizations more as private companies, so we try to convey them the idea of how important it is to get information in front of their eyes quickly, in front of decision makers, etc. So we have automated the creation of situational reports, or SITREPs. This is a terminology borrowed from war terminology. Basically, the idea here is to monitor for any type of change in the different aspects that we have of those reports. Honestly, the coordination index and the narrative momentum are the two most key things. If you see any rise in those indexes, you know that something is going on, and depending on the thresholds, you can make decisions that is going on by naturally, or it's in some way designed narrative. In its pure form, I think AI agents are not quite there yet. So I'm going to share with you the two caveats that we have when we speak about agents on the Identrics side. Data is really important here. This is not an agent that is running amok in the web. This is working only and purely on our own data, our own data, collected data. So we know what is coming in. We have tried it. We have tested it. We can attest to its quality, and we know where the data is coming from. So this is one. And the second is it's a new product. It's a new service. We have run one production iteration and a couple of testing iterations. So we still have human eyes on them. Honestly, human in the loop is a really core part of our DNA. I see a couple of iterations to get to full automation. But the idea here is to have, again, the baseline that after that our editorial team or other media intelligence editorial teams can build upon. And I mentioned the Eurozone. It has been a hot topic on our end for some time now. to pat ourselves on the back, we will be joining the Eurozone on the 1st of January 2026, so bravo to us. But not for the lack of trying for different disinformation campaigns. The last one that happened a couple of weeks ago had to do with a really vocal push to try and have a referendum, the be silent. So it was the perfect time to try and test our AI agent to compile a report about that. These are some of the results that I have cherry-picked here. You can see the coordination network. You can see the different channels, the volume of output that they have, how they coordinate with one another, pushing for referendum, and then using Telegram and other such channels is a very famous, very tried and tested Russian tactic. On the top, you can see the types of reactions. Now, this is the real sentiment. This is an actual fragmented, in-depth look into how people are reacting. And also you can go down interesting rabbit holes with using emojis, because oftentimes they're being used as dog whistles to signalize different things to specific audiences. I believe here we had that pumpkin emoji that was oddly appearing on a couple of channels that our analysts are looking into. And at the bottom is really the volume share, but a more interesting aspect of it, I didn't include it because it's very specific, but we saw a myriad of channels that had some really basic kind of names and basic profile pictures. Once the call for referendum went out, we saw those profile pictures change to the euro sign or change to the Z that become famous with the invasion of Russia and Ukraine, and change their names also. So it was really interesting to see how those channels are being planted, are being seeded. They're spewing normal content, and once they're activated, they're changing their profile picture, they're changing their names, and they're being utilized like sleeper agents, like, right, to push the narrative. You can see this in depth and the whole report on our website. It is freely available. You don't even have to input your email. I did win a friendly argument with my marketing team to keep it completely free. So you can see our findings over there. Look at it as a trial run. But if you want, you can also leave your email if you want to receive additional insights as well. Thank you.
Nesin, thank you very much. I'm going to start with a question. Please think of questions. In amongst all the data that you're tracking, obviously there's a large volume of data. Some of this is just legitimate criticism, legitimate discussion, bad reviews, bad opinions. You don't want to be the agency or the partner that cries wolf. So how are you detecting material threats as opposed to just the normal cut and thrust of online debate?
Yeah, really the system of checks and balances, and in the end, human eyes is the thing that we are striving for. I didn't have time to go through every system that we have, but we have a very comprehensive system of gauging the authenticity on the source level and on the document level. And what we do is we raise alarms, we raise alerts, and get it in front of human eyes. As of today, I am not 100% confident for full automation, especially when working with government organizations. I think we are, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe years from that. But as of today, the name of the game is to get the information to people that make the last decision.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Does anyone in the room have a question for Nesin? Yes. Amrita.
Hi, Nesin. That disinfo hack sounded really interesting. Can you share one or two of the highlight ideas that came out of it?
Yeah, most of the ideas rotated around. That's why I use trickling down. We have university students, and most of them are really gathered around the idea of passing down the baton to students in lower classes and working with directly with kids, etc. Because it's really important to seed the good seeds on the younger level and to get that media literacy going along with the other life skills because it is a life skills and it should be taught in schools.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Um, I'm interested, how are you tackling visual content? Because obviously really we've spent the last 20 years optimizing a lot of what we're doing to analyze text, but obviously there's a lot of signals that can come through visual content, faked or genuine or otherwise. I'm just wondering how Identrics is approaching the world of visuals.
Yeah, along with AData Pro, we have good experience with tackling disinformation in meme format, in jokes formats, in visual formats, etc. And as most aspects of it, of the disinformation race, it is an arms race. So as long as you have the models that are able to create those visuals that can fool nowadays mostly everybody, the same models can be used to detect those visuals. But this is really on that level, on the numbers game level. I don't think it is that effective. Like, yeah, you can detect the visuals, but it is not driving decision making. It is not driving knowledge from the sides of the people. So this is why, on the one hand, we have taken that zoom out approach and are working with people and organizations in places that can actually influence policies.
Right, no, thank you very much. We've still got 2 or 3 minutes left, so just to open it up to the floor, I mean, does anyone have any experience of, how maybe you have encountered, misinformation, and maybe not where you've gone actively looking for it? I remember once we were running a big analysis on a mattress maker. So quite a benign thing, really. And what we found was that we started noticing sort of quite abnormal patterns of behavior on what was then Twitter. And we then uncovered a load of bot accounts, and we uncovered a load of misinformation about our client's brand that was being spread. We didn't go looking for it, but just by being curious, we actually found it. We're now talking about misinformation as a known risk to reputation, but really misinformation has been with us since the beginning of time. So I'm just curious, because we've still got this time, or Nesin, if you've got any other examples of where you've worked specifically for a government client and you actually maybe have identified areas of misinformation that were, maybe an unknown at the time.
Maybe an interesting aspect to it is foreign relations. Without revealing too much, this is something very direct to governments to know how they are perceived outside of their borders. So here, the thing is working with different languages, with working with different culture. You need those domain experts on the ground to verify the automated and the AI approach. So it's a really encompassing and heavy way compared to the private sector to try and compile those reports that can give you a good idea of how the perception of a different country is being presented in social media and in the media. And we are really heavily focused on social media, especially on Telegram and on Reddit. Here in the Black Sea region, in arising conflicts, unfortunately, throughout Asia as well, we see Telegram that is being largely used as a seeding ground for disinformation campaigns, and of course the aim being to infect mainstream media.
Okay, well, we'll have to leave it there, but thanks again very much, Nesin.